It was a cold, rainy afternoon, November 24th, 1971. A day like any other. Passengers rushed through Portland International Airport, eager to reach their destinations. Among them, an unremarkable man stepped forward. He was dressed in a dark suit, a black raincoat draped over his shoulders, a neatly pressed white shirt, and a slim black tie. In his hand, a single briefcase. He approached the Northwest Orient Airlines counter and purchased a one-way ticket to Seattle, Washington. He gave the name Dan Cooper, but history would remember him by another name. At exactly 2:50 p.m., he boarded Flight 305, a Boeing 727. Just another routine flight. 36 passengers, a small crew, a short journey. Cooper took his seat, 18C, near the rear of the plane. He ordered a bourbon and soda, sitting calmly, watching the rain streak across the window as the aircraft rumbled down the runway. But what seemed like a normal flight was about to become one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. Somewhere in midair, as the plane glided through the stormy skies, Dan Cooper made his move. He turned to flight attendant Florence Schaffner and handed her a small note. She barely glanced at it, used to lonely businessmen slipping their numbers onto napkins. But then, a voice, calm but firm, broke the hum of the engines. "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Florence's hands trembled as she unfolded the paper. Inside, neatly written instructions. $200,000 in $20 bills. 4 parachutes. A fuel truck waiting in Seattle. Do exactly as I say, and no one gets hurt. She glanced up. Cooper's expression was calm. Too calm. He wasn't nervous. He wasn't panicked. He slowly popped open his briefcase just enough for her to see. Inside, tangled wires. Red sticks. A bomb. Or at least, something that looked very much like one. The message reached the cockpit. The FBI was alerted. The plane circled over Puget Sound, buying time while law enforcement scrambled to gather the money and parachutes. Meanwhile, back in the cabin, the passengers, they had no idea. They were simply told there was a mechanical issue, a small delay. Nothing to worry about. But behind the scenes, the world's most infamous hijacking was unfolding. After hours of tension, the plane finally touched down in Seattle. Cooper's demands were met. The ransom money delivered, the parachutes secured. And then, true to his word, Cooper let the passengers go. But he wasn't done yet. With only the pilot, co-pilot, and a single flight attendant remaining, Cooper gave his final orders. Fly south, keep it low, keep it slow, landing gear down, cabin unpressurized. Destination? Mexico City. The plane took off into the stormy night. Cooper moved to the rear of the aircraft. He secured the ransom money to his body. He strapped on a parachute, and then, somewhere over the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, under the cover of darkness, Dan Cooper lowered the rear stairs of the Boeing 727. A blast of freezing air filled the cabin, and then he jumped into the storm, into the unknown. When the plane landed in Reno, Nevada, the crew checked the cabin. Cooper, gone. No trace, not a single clue left behind. An extensive manhunt followed. FBI agents, military teams, search dogs, nothing. The only sign of Cooper surfaced years later. A few bundles of ransom cash found buried along the Columbia River. Weathered, torn, but still there. The FBI closed the case in 2016. No fingerprints, no identity, no body. DBCooper had vanished. Did he survive? Did he slip away, blending into society, living out the rest of his days in quiet obscurity? Or was his daring leap into the night his last? We may never know, but one thing is certain. The legend of D.B. Cooper lives on. A mystery, a myth, a man who vanished into thin air, leaving behind nothing but questions. And so, the story remains. A puzzle, a shadow, a name whispered in the dark. DB Cooper.